Happy Wednesday, everybody. I'm sorry to be coming to you from my car again, but man, driving is kind of the only time I have free to be able to do things like this. But happy Wednesday. I hope you're having a great week. Hope everything's going great for you in your life. And if it's not, why don't we change that? Why don't we hit the reset button and get back to neutral? Get back to the basics. When we're struggling or when we're overwhelmed, it's really important that we remember the basics, that we keep it simple. You've heard me say that a whole bunch, and that we get back to the basics. So today I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is, there's a really great book written by Daniel Goleman called Emotional Intelligence, which was very, very good, but also very clinical, if that makes sense to you. Clinical in the sense that it wasn't a light read. It was a pretty heavy read. So I hope that when my new book comes out, that you feel like it's a little more relatable to you when I talk about emotional intelligence. Like you could say to yourself, hey, I can get behind this guy. He seems really relatable and seems a lot more like me. I hope that's what you find yourself saying if I'm lucky enough to have you read my new book that's coming out. A lot more about that coming down the road. Probably this fall, later this summer, the book will be ready. It's in the publisher's hands and being reviewed by the editing team, so it's kind of a nervous time for me. But emotional intelligence is, I guess I have my navigation on, sorry about that, but emotional intelligence is really the key to just about everything if you break it down far enough. I was just meeting with some great people that they're in one of the industries that I'm in, and they are just amazing people. They have a why behind everything that they do. They have passion. They have drive. They were just telling me that they probably would have given up anywhere between 30 and 50 times in the past 5 years. They would have given up because it was too hard. It was so hard that they would have given up. But that's why it's so important to remember what's behind our work, our drive, our passion in the first place. Like, why do we get up and go to work in the morning? To support our kids? Okay, well, why do we want to support our kids? Maybe to give them the life that we didn't have? Okay, what kind of life is that? Like, if you've worked with Tony Robbins or Dean Graziosi, you know that you break down that why. You ask yourself why 7 different times. And that should give you a really good idea of what you stand for, what you're all about, why you might be up against some of the things that you're up against, why you wake up in the morning, what's your purpose, who are you serving, and why. That's really, really important to remember when talking about emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence kind of gets a complicated rap, and it doesn't need to. Emotional intelligence is being aware of ourselves and the who we are as a person before we ever get to work, before we get home to our kids. Are we taking our work home with us, or are we taking our commute home to decompress and make sure that we're not taking any I don't want to say baggage, but any conflict from our day into our evening. Like when we get home from work, I know at my house, my kids have had their own day and had problems of their own come up, and they need me to be a present dad to talk about those things. They need me to be available when they call. It's really important that we try to meet our children where they're at emotionally, and we do that by knowing ourselves emotionally. And I guess drive this point home enough. Emotional intelligence is the key to our finances, which I talk a lot about. Some people roll their eyes. The more emotional intelligence you have, the more money you can make, and the more valuable you become in the marketplace. So, working on our emotional intelligence, we get to know ourselves better. We become better friends, we become better workers, better parents, better sons, daughters, better spouse, whatever the case may be. When we work on us, there's a ripple effect, and we end up finding out that change is contagious. So today's message is work on your emotional intelligence. Start to question why you do things. What's your why behind what you do? Asking yourself 7 levels deep, why? Just ask yourself why 7 different times. And you'll probably find, like a lost little child, something that maybe happened to you when you were younger. Like, part of my story is that I discovered something that happened to me when I was younger. And that was like a revelation. It connected so many dots that I had been missing through my whole life, all because I was courageous enough to say, I wonder what I stand for, rather than just going through the motions or saying all the right things. Are you really doing the work? Are you really putting in the work? Anyway, I've gone on long enough. I hope everyone has a great Wednesday. Stay beautiful. You're amazing. I believe in you. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.